Welcome to Day 7 of the 2018 Fannie Awards.
Hey guys, it's Day 7. It's this many days into the 2018 Fannie Awards, and we're getting so close to that juicy number 1 spot, but today we're not talking about number 1. Today we're talking about number 4. What was my 4th favorite film of the year? Well, let's just cut right to the chase and reveal that answer for you right now. My 4th favorite film of the year is, well, I guess there's only one way to say it. Wakanda Forever. Introducing a new franchise into the already packed Marvel Cinematic Universe is no small feat. The introductory films of Doctor Strange and even Thor were a little bit shaky, to say the least. When Black Panther was announced, I expected a story along those lines. Thankfully, the end result was something far superior. With the Avengers films hogging the limelight with their ginormous casts, the rest of the MCU outings tend to focus on smaller scale stories to provide a bit of contrast. Look no further than Ant-Man or Spider-Man to see what I mean. But then along comes Black Panther's first solo film, and there's nothing small about it. This is a massive, sweeping epic with enough characters and lore to spawn off a cinematic universe of its very own. A 2-hour, 14-minute juggernaut stuffed to bursting with thrills, twists, powerful character arcs, world building, all the essential vitamins a good story needs. Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan breathe life into characters who are downright Shakespearean. And new MCU additions like Shuri and Okoye seem to come packaged with an official guarantee that we can look forward to a bright future full of fun, colorful adventures in Wakanda and beyond. With Captain Marvel slated to release soon and the promise of an Eternals and Shang-Chi movie in the not-too-distant future, I can only hope those writers and directors look to Black Panther as a kind of gold standard. If you're going to introduce a new franchise and new characters into the MCU, then this is absolutely the right way to do it. However, as much as I love Black Panther, even though it is a fresh, exciting new story in the MCU, it is not an original film because it's based off a comic book, as we know by now. But original films are what I want to celebrate today, because today we're giving out what might be my favorite Fannie Award for Best Original Concept. As I've said many times before, in the Fannies and on my regular review show, I try to see as many movies as I can that are totally new, fresh, original ideas, because I want to support those ideas and hopefully help to push them to grow into new, exciting franchises. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time, unfortunately, it doesn't. But that doesn't mean that we don't get a slew of exciting new films every year with new ideas to back them up. Here's a quick list of every new original film that I saw this year that was based on nothing. It just exists as its own thing. If you haven't seen any of these movies, regardless of whether or not I think they're good or bad, check them out. Now remember, the movie that wins this award, it doesn't necessarily mean the movie itself was anything spectacular. It means the concept that it introduces. That's what is important here. Every time I watch a fresh original movie, I always ask myself the same question. I always ask, what other stories can you tell in this sandbox? And when the answer to that question is, what other stories can't you tell in this sandbox? That's how we know we have something really, really special on our hands. So with that in mind, the nominees for 2018's Best Original Concept Fannie are Blockers, Game Night, The Happy Time Murders, A Quiet Place, Sorry to Bother You, and the winner of the 2018 Best Original Concept Award is A Quiet Place. Survival horror is a genre that often tends to get lost in a sea of gray, featureless zombies, a cliche which, in my personal opinion, hasn't offered anything new or compelling in decades. Some new life definitely needed to be breathed into stories like this, and thankfully, Scott Beck and Brian Woods were the right dudes for the job. The movies that usually win the Fannie for Best Original Concept tend to do so because the concepts they bring to the table are deceptively simple at first. A post-apocalyptic world where alien creatures can hear you if you make even the slightest of loud noises? Sure, I can get behind that. But then you start to think about it more. I mean, really think about it more. And all of a sudden, you're sitting there, wide-eyed, mouth hanging open, as your brain suddenly runs through the thousands upon thousands of possibilities such a concept has suddenly opened up to you. Or maybe that's just me. Who knows? Even though I enjoyed the hell out of A Quiet Place, my mind was already racing through several sequel possibilities. What are the people in the cities doing? Has anybody else figured out the creature's weaknesses? How have different parts of the world adjusted to this new way of life? The fact that I'm not the only one who feels this way is further proof that this film deserves the original concept Fannie over all the others. With all the potential it brings to the table, and with the power of great imaginative minds behind it, A Quiet Place's concept has gotten everyone talking. So big congrats are in order today for Black Panther and for A Quiet Place. You both took home some sexy fannies. All good stuff. Tomorrow is day 8. And 8 is one of my favorite numbers. So that day has a lot of pressure riding on it. So I'll see you tomorrow. The Fannie Awards will continue. Until then, adios.